Hi, I'm Oscarito, and this is 28 years later. A young boy with his critically ill mother embarks on a perilous journey across a country ravaged by the rage virus epidemic to find a doctor who can help them. The film begins in the Scottish Highlands. Small children watch Teletubbies on television while adults argue and shout in adjacent rooms. When crazed parents burst into the room and attack the children, only a boy named Jimmy manages to escape. His mother, before becoming infected with the rage virus, tells him to run. Jimmy flees to the church where his father serves as a priest. However, the priest sees the zombie apocalypse as a divine sign. He gives his son a crucifix and hides him in the church's cellar. Before the infected break into the building, they bite the priest, infecting him, after which the entire crowd moves on. Jimmy is left alone in this big and dangerous world. The rage virus epidemic has spread throughout Great Britain. The British Isles have been quarantined from mainland Europe. The country is populated by the infected. People have banded together in communes. The walking dead are forced to feed not on human flesh, but on earthworms, squirrel and deer entrails, and tree bark. The few surviving healthy people live on Lindisfarne Island, separated from the mainland by a narrow causeway that can only be crossed at low tide. Here lives a boy named Spike. His mother, Isla, is ill. She suffers from fits of rage and memory lapses, but since there's no doctor on the island, no one can help. Spike himself, along with his father Jamie, is preparing for his first trip to the mainland, a kind of initiation rite, an entry into adulthood. Taking everything necessary and leaving old Sam to look after Isla, father and son head out. Before the gates, the community elders remind them that no one will come looking for them if they don't return. These are the local safety rules. Crossing the causeway, they find themselves in the vastness of the mainland, which Spike has never seen before. Making their way through forests, Jamie spots an infected person crawling on his belly. To complete his initiation, Spike must kill him. His father explains where to shoot with the bow to do it. While the boy aims, another infected person approaches from behind, this time a woman. Spike kills the male, his father kills the female and child, sparing only the youngest girl of the infected family. The pair moves on through the desolate landscapes. Soon they notice a herd of deer behaving like normal deer grazing in fields. Later, they come across a solitary house, which they search for anything useful. Hearing suspicious sounds, they find a crow pecking at a hanged man with letters carved into his body. Someone had made an example of him, leaving him to be infected by the virus. Jamie explains to his son that there are survivors on the mainland too, but their moral and ethical guidelines differ from those accepted in their community. Then he tells Spike to kill the hanged man to complete his initiation. But the boy hesitates until the infected breaks free from his bonds, after which he releases the arrow. Continuing their journey, they come across a severed deer head hanging from a tree. The infected have marked their territory. Understanding it's dangerous to stay here, Jamie leads his son away. They notice a group of infected ahead who give chase. The humans retreat, shooting arrows and depleting their arrow supply. Returning to the house, the survivors climb through a hatch to the attic, where they hide, waiting for the infected to lose interest and leave. While waiting and observing the alpha who watches them, Jamie explains to his son that the rage virus sometimes affects people differently. On alphas, it works like the Olympic motto, making them faster, higher, stronger, and more resilient. Taking down such a creature with one arrow won't work. When darkness falls, they notice lights at sea, a NATO patrol boat maintaining the quarantine. Spike sees smoke from a fire in another direction. His father says he has no idea who lives there. Closer to dawn, a herd of deer races past the house in swift bounds. The vibration created by their hoofbeats shook the house, and the chimney began to collapse. Jamie and Spike quickly leave the shelter and run toward their home island. Reaching the coast, they see that low tide has begun, but the water hasn't completely receded. Taking off their boots, they wade across. The humans reached the midpoint when a flock of ravens and, worse yet, an alpha infected gave chase. The mutant runs like mad, closing the distance. The survivors run to the settlement wall, whistling alarm signals. Sentries on the wall, spotting them, shoot arrows. They cause discomfort, but don't stop the Alpha. He almost catches the fugitives when a ballista spear is launched from the wall, finally stopping the mutated infected. The settlement throws a party in honor of Spike's successful initiation. Jamie tells everyone what a great son he has. After the event, the boy notices his father embracing another woman in a dark corner. Returning home in confused feelings, he discusses his mother's condition with Sam. The old man tells him that the fire on the mainland was lit by Dr. Kelson, the only doctor the settlement knows about. The problem is that he's supposedly mentally disturbed. In the morning, Spike asks his father why he said nothing about Dr. Kelson. Perhaps he could help Mother. Jamie admits that in his youth he met him during one of his forays. The doctor was laying out dozens of corpses in a clearing and burning them. Considering him crazy, he and his friends decided it was strongly not recommended to approach him. Spike accuses his father of waiting for Isla's death so he can go to another woman. In a fit of rage, the man slaps him. Despite later apologizing as best he could, the boy has already formed a plan. He sets fire to a barn to distract the sentries at the gates, then sets off with his sick mother to find the doctor on the mainland. Isla is frightened by the desolate landscapes. She calls for her husband, but her son insists they must continue to the doctor. They walk all day, stopping for the night in a chapel. Spike volunteers to keep watch but falls asleep on duty. An infected crawls toward him. But at the last moment, Isla throws a sack over the mutant's head and smashes his skull with a stone. However, in the morning, she completely doesn't remember doing it. The story switches to soldiers from the Maritime Quarantine Patrol. Due to circumstances, they landed on shore in a boat. When Marines began being pursued by the infected, the landing party's numbers inexorably decreased. They even had to finish off their own after infection. Fleeing, the soldiers find themselves in a sewer tunnel, locking the grate from inside. However, here they meet a huge Alpha capable of easily tearing off a head along with the spine. In the end, only one survivor remains from the soldiers. Spike and Isla make their way through a field overgrown with grass and yellow flowers. Noticing an ornate metal statue ahead, the woman tells how she first saw it. Only because of her illness-clouded consciousness, she mistakes her son for her husband. A thin, infected person resembling Cillian Murphy creeps up on them. Spike kills him with an accurate shot. The infected's blood gets on Isla's face. The boy has to carefully wipe it off so it doesn't get in her eyes, nose, or mouth. One drop is enough for infection. Noticing a crowd of infected running after them, the pair flees. Their flight leads them to an old gas station where gasoline vapors swirl inside. Climbing inside, the humans fight off the infected. Suddenly, a hatch opens on the roof, and a soldier, telling them to lie on the floor, opens fire on the mutants. The shooting ignites the vapors. Fire destroys the infected, but by the magic of screenwriting spares the sprawled Spike and Isla. Getting outside, they meet a Swedish soldier named Eric. He's forced to join their expedition since he's even less familiar with local realities than the boy and the mentally disturbed woman. Eric carries the exhausted Isla, meanwhile telling them he served in the quarantine patrol. But now, having stepped on infected land, he can't return. The outside world cuts off all contact for safety. During arrest, Eric shows Spike a photo of his girlfriend. Looking at her lips, the boy immediately diagnoses seafood allergy. He's seen this before. After the battery dies, the soldier throws away the useless phone. When they continue their journey, Isla suddenly hears a groan and follows the sound. She reaches a railway with an abandoned train, scaring away a flock of rats along the way. In the car, the woman finds a pregnant infected woman whose pitiful look doesn't allow her to pass by. Out of female solidarity, Isla helps the mutant, delivering the baby. After this, the new mother, remembering that she's actually infected, attacks Isla. Eric calms the zombie with a couple of shots. Then he wants to shoot the baby too. Isla tries to convince him the child is healthy, but only the Alpha, who grabs his head, manages to calm the warrior. The humans retreat through the cars. The Alpha, noticing his dead beloved, chases after them with the fury of a conductor pursuing fare dodgers, not releasing Eric's head from his hands. Suddenly, a man covered in iodine appears, who calms the Alpha with an accurate shot from a blowgun. The dart is loaded with morphine. The man turns out to be Dr. Kelson. Taking the soldier's head from the motionless Alpha, he leads his new acquaintances to his camp, which looks quite extravagant. Pillars of human bones. The doctor built them in memory of all the dead whose bodies he burned. In the middle of this forest of the dead stands a tower of skulls. The doctor pedantically used different bones for different purposes. He took the soldier's head to replenish his ghastly memorial collection. Boiling it over fire, he carefully washes the remains of flesh and skin from the skull until a perfect bone emerges. Kelson allows Spike to choose where to place Eric's skull. After examining the baby and finding no signs of disease, the doctor reminds them that he needs food, particularly milk. He'll have to be taken to the settlement. Then he examines Isla, conducting tests for short-term memory and fine motor skills. The doctor's diagnosis is disappointing: cancer that has metastasized to the brain. Isla admits she suspected this herself but was afraid to tell anyone. Understanding that she has little time left and each day will be accompanied by pain, she says goodbye to her son. Then the woman goes with Kelson into the forest so he can perform euthanasia with a lethal dose of morphine. After cremating the body on a pyre, Isla's skull, like others that fell into Kelson's hands, goes through the same procedures. Then the doctor gives it to Spike so he can place the bone where he sees fit. The boy climbs to the very top of the bone tower to mount his mother's skull facing east. During the day, the awakened Alpha visits the camp, forcing the doctor and boy to hide in an underground shelter. But the infected, breaking through the roof, grabs Kelson and tries to pull him out. Spike sedates the Alpha with a syringe of morphine. After this, the boy returns with the baby to his home settlement on the island. He leaves the girl at the gates with a letter for his father. In it, he says he named the baby Isla in honor of his mother and asks not to look for him. Spike goes to the mainland to find himself. He'll return when he sees fit. 28 days later, Spike is cooking caught fish when infected spot him. After shooting one, the boy flees but runs into a stone embankment blocking the road. On top of the embankment sits a young man in a tracksuit. He praises Spike for his accurate shooting and offers help dealing with the remaining crowd of infected. Friends join the stranger, all wearing stylish tracksuits as if they emerged from a glamorous past from the 90s. The crew quickly dispatches the infected, demonstrating that over the years someone finally had the sense to develop an effective method of fighting zombies. Then the guy introduces himself to Spike. It turns out this is the surviving boy Jimmy from the prologue. This is where the film ends.